December 14th is World Diabetes Day, and the theme for 2024 is diabetes and well-being. So in honor of this year's World Diabetes Day, we're going to share with you 9 tips for improved well-being as a diabetic. Unfortunately, well-being is something that many diabetics are not feeling. Most diabetics worry about complications. You worry about medications, the cost of medications, time from work, etc. So to help give you some positivity and improve your sense of hope going forward, I'm going to share with you these 9 tips. I should first define, though, well-being. Well-being is a general feeling of health and happiness, so not necessarily the absence of disease or having normal blood test results, but just an overall feeling that everything is going to be all right. So how do we improve your sense of well-being and help you not have to worry about the future and complications going forward as a diabetic? Well, let's get into the 9 tips. The first one is that you have to take power, you have to take control over your diabetes. So you cannot give control of your diabetes to medications. You can't give it to any specific doctor or healthcare provider. You can't give control over to your insurance company that will determine which medications you can or cannot use. You have to take control, and you have to realize that your decisions, your actions day by day determine the outcome of your health and, of course, your diabetes. Okay, when you take control of a situation and you realize that nobody else will determine your outcome but you, that gives you a sense of hope, because you can control yourself, but you cannot control any of these other external factors, right? So you have to believe in your heart that you are in control and nobody else, and you take that control because it's you, it's your body, it's your health. Okay. Second tip is to, and these are just random, these tips are in no particular order of importance. Okay. The second tip for you to improve your well-being is to not necessarily focus on this big hardcore exercise plan, but just to realize that naturally as we exist, we should have activity multiple times throughout the day. So in this modern life, we might not be able to dedicate a specific 1-hour period to hardcore exercise, but if you realize that, hey, I can just try and move around, get up, take a little walk around the office or around the house every hour, ideally at least, or maybe every 2 hours, but as frequently as possible, rather than reserving physical activity, making it aggressive physical activity for one specific time frame during the day, that is going to improve your overall well-being. The thing about diabetes is a problem of energy, your energy, the amount of energy coming in versus how much is being burned. Now, if you're having energy coming in episodically or almost constantly throughout the day, but you're only burning energy once per day, then the energy amount coming in is going to build up because it's not being burnt off as soon as it comes in. And so it's going to be stored, and it's going to be stored as extra fat, and extra fat, of course, is something that hurts diabetes. So you have to realize, I'm not going to worry about, I can't afford to go to the gym, or do I have time to go to the gym? I'm going to just try to increase my physical activity so that I'm burning energy as it is coming in. Okay. The third thing for you to, improve your well-being is to realize that, I have to focus a little more on on what I eat, instead of just reserving the control to medications specifically. Okay. We have to know and accept that diabetes is generally a diet and lifestyle condition. So you cannot fix a diet and lifestyle condition with medications alone, okay, or other pharmaceutical, things. You have to fix this problem. The primary way of fixing this problem is going to be with adjusting the diet. The common diet is a modern diet that goes against health, unfortunately, and you just have to appreciate that. The regular diet, or should I say the natural diet for health, is that diet which comprises mainly foods that were not tampered with in factories. It's going to be mostly those fruits that come straight from the land and the sea. And if there's any processing done, you are the one to do the processing. You peel, you cut up, you cook. You are the one doing the processing, not a factory. If we move away from those factory foods and get back to those foods from nature, we will have our health, okay? The fourth point is to not worry. So it's easy for us to fall into this trap of worry, and it's just a vicious cycle that gets worse and worse, and we develop bigger and bigger problems. You have to realize that worrying is not going to change anything whatsoever. And instead of sitting and worry, just get up and do something. It might not be anything related to health, but just doing something alone will take your mind off worry and then get you to something that's producing a result or giving some kind of positivity, and that itself will improve your mood and get you closer to that feeling of well-being, which is that positive feeling. Okay, worry never helps anything. In fact, worry can make diabetes particularly worse because of how worry causes you to produce the stress hormone, it's a steroid hormone, and that even causes your body to produce more sugar. So worrying is something that you might as well banish as best as you can. Be mindful about when worry is creeping in, and then find something to distract yourself so that you don't have to stew in all that worry. Okay. Fifth thing is, and I kind of alluded that with the food, but essentially you're going to have to stick with nature, generally speaking. Once you stick with nature, once you stick with how we were supposed to live and eat and exist, being active, health will come automatically, okay? So health is not something you necessarily get by going on these, doing these hacks and taking medications and so on. Just being and existing with nature, health automatically comes. Health is actually the default, okay? Disease is what happens when we interfere with how nature meant for us to live and exist and be in society, okay? Sixth point is a lot of times you're doing everything, right? You're doing all the things I already said, but there's some underlying problems that are really making it hard to get your diabetes under better control, okay? And one of these things is having improper sleep, especially from a condition called sleep apnea. Now, sleep apnea is a condition where during sleep, you have these pauses in your breathing. And because you have pauses in your breathing, your oxygen levels in the body go down and the carbon dioxide levels go up. So you have a mixture of not enough oxygen and then the blood getting too acidic. And when that reaches a particular point, then you wake up, it triggers you to wake up to start taking a breath again and get rid of that extra carbon dioxide and build back up the oxygen levels in your blood. Now, when you fall asleep again, this cycle can continue. And so you might have this situation going on multiple times throughout the night. You can imagine this is a very stressful condition. Sleep apnea generally is in people who are a bit more overweight, but it can actually be in people who have normal weight as well. And this is something that I strongly recommend everybody, if there's any concern, snoring, or if there's any extra weight, and you're doing all the things for your blood sugar levels and find that, hey, you're still not where you still don't have that feeling of health and happiness and general well-being, then you might want to find out about getting tested for sleep apnea and then getting that treated. Okay, so sleep apnea, definitely something that could be itself worsening your diabetes. Seventh point is similar to sleep apnea, fatty liver. Fatty liver is another condition that is undiagnosed in many people. And any fatty liver any liver disease really is going to make it harder to control diabetes. Your liver is the organ responsible for processing all the nutrients that come in from your food, packaging it and sending them to wherever around the body it is needed. If your liver is struggling because it's congested with fat or whatever disease with your liver, it will not be able to process energy properly, and you will have problems processing your glucose levels, and your diabetes will struggle to keep your diabetes under control, right? So fatty liver, another problem. It used to be that when we saw fatty liver, we just said, oh, that's just a little fat in the liver. But now we're understanding more and more how negatively impactful fatty liver is to diabetes and overall health and well-being. Definitely get the fatty liver checked for and get it treated. And by the way, the treatment for fatty liver is actually the same as the treatment for type 2 diabetes, all right? Our eighth point is generally we spoke about control, but you have to be the boss of your own health. You're in control. You're the CEO of your health, as I've heard somebody else say, okay? It's not the doctor. It's not the healthcare system. It is you. And you have to own that role as the CEO, as the boss of your health. When you own it, then suddenly you'll start realizing, hey, I can do this, I can do that. And again, you have that feeling of positivity because you're the one in control. When you're not in control of something, you feel helpless because you can't control what other people are doing. You can't control what the system is doing. But when you're the boss and you take ownership and you're like, this is my health, and you get obsessed and you start seeing the things that you can do to help with your diabetes and health overall, okay? And then then the ninth point to improve your overall well-being, where diabetes is concerned, is you're gonna have to get organized. Okay, so we have so much to do. We have children, we have jobs, we have this, that, everything, and sometimes it just gets erratic, and you're like, oh my God, you're scrambling to get everything done. But having a condition like type 2 diabetes, you have to be organized. And a big part of being organized as a diabetic is to have a plan for what you're going to eat. We already said that this is a diet disease. Whether you like it or not, it has to do with how you eat. And so if you're going to control it, you have to know what you're going to eat. And to know what you're going to eat day by day, you have to have a plan. You have to dedicate some time to come up with that plan, that meal plan of yours, where you know what you're going to eat for 2 or 3, all your meals for the day, and you know it for every day of the week. Okay, with a plan, again, you feel more empowered, you feel in control, and you're wasting less time trying to figure out at the last minute, oh my goodness, what am I going to eat? Which oftentimes ends with you eating something that actually goes against, like makes your diabetes worse rather than better. Okay, so I hope you all found these tips to improve your well-being as a type 2 diabetic very helpful. I do want you to share with me which one was your favorite and that you plan to implement. Now, for those of you who want to take it a little further, I host the Control Your Blood Sugar Challenge. I hosted it for the first time last week, and I plan to host it again in early December. And what better time to really get a handle of type 2 diabetes than going into the new year. So if you're interested in joining the Control Your Blood Sugar Challenge, which is not a class or a webinar, but it's an actual challenge where you're going to be challenged to do things. You're going to have tasks every day of the 5-day challenge to get you on the road to mastering your blood sugar levels and your type 2 diabetes. If this is something that you think you would like to participate in, then there's a link in the description that you can click and learn more about it and get your seat. All right, well, thank you for watching this video. And for those of you who would know somebody who would benefit from this, definitely share it with them. All the best on World Diabetes Day 2024 and beyond. Bye-bye.